Hello and welcome to this video right here. Reasons behind making it. I am currently packing all of my robots, that's all of my robots, into, can I lift it? No, I'm not even going to try. Into a massive great tub just here, and if I'm a good editor, which I can be, I'm not going to be today though. There's a big tub here, and it's full of my robots because I'm moving them out to the shed because they've been living underneath my bed for a long old time and they get just a little bit more damaged every time I go in there. So I'm putting them somewhere that they can't get that much more damaged, which is out in the shed, out of the way. But while I was doing that, I thought, wouldn't this be a great opportunity to go over the robots that I'm not happy with? And I thought, yes, basically. So here is a video for you. It's split into 4 parts. So the first part are robots that didn't go well. These are the ones that I've built and looked at, and I'm not happy with them. Probably because they broke in some way or keep breaking in some way, and I'll explain them in a minute. Then we've got didn't know any better. These are some of my early models that could just be better. They really could be better, and a couple of them I'm actually going to upgrade. We'll come to them in a minute. Then we've got robots where I did know better, and decided to just leave it at that anyway. And lastly, we have absolutely sinful. The robots that there's 2 robots in that category, and they're both the same team within the confines of my series, so we'll get into that in just a moment. But robots that didn't go so well, I actually found a third. So yeah, robots that didn't go well, but I was happy with the overall. Well, right, okay, we'll start off with Dead Moose XL. Dead Moose XL came about because somebody requested that I do some build instructions for how to build a Dead Moose, so I did that by building a new Dead Moose XL. It actually looked pretty good when it was done. However, it has since broken. You might be noticing there is something completely lacking, and that is the roll bar. The Shremek, there is actually a bit of what used to be there. But the roll bar that used to allow Dead Moose to roll over freely every time broke completely in storage, actually. It got crushed underneath some stuff and broke. It was made out of flimsy material, and I should have made it... Well, actually, I should have made it out of something a little thinner, some thinner card. I made it out of quite thick card, and that just split. So when I come to fix Dead Moose XL, that is what I'm going to do to it. But I'm going to pop that into the box of wonders now. In it goes. Happy days. Next up, we have this fella. This is the class act that is Sir Chromalot. Now, I was incredibly chuffed with this model. Its only downside seemed to be that it didn't have any wheels or anything on the bottom, in fact, and that was something I was going to rectify with just a piece of card just there glued on, and that would fix that. Unfortunately, since then, the flipper mechanism has broken. If I just show you, it's quite loose, and it comes off easily, and I've narrowed this down to 2 things. One is, well, in fact, I've narrowed it down to 1 thing. It's this little clip here. I don't know how well you can see it. I'm going to try and focus on it. I'm doing this in selfie mode, so you might not be very good. But this clip thing here, can you just see it's broken? It lifts up, and it shouldn't lift up. And I think the other one isn't far from doing the same. I've put it under a bit too much force with that. So when I come to fix this one, that's something that I'll change, and then I'll do the bottom of it properly. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it, other than it being just a little bit too small. So that is the class act, Sir Chromalot, and that is what I'm going to be doing to Sir Chromalot. And actually, I'm going to keep these out, because I am going to be fixing them. Right. Last one didn't go so well. I had designed a really cool looking vertical spinner after spending ages trying to work out what fidget spinner to use to build it. I designed it, and unfortunately it came out like Whirlpool. And this I'm not happy with for several reasons. Firstly, the rear wedge wasn't low enough, so I added this bit, which just sort of looks a bit last minute. Secondly, we have the spinner, which doesn't really stick out all that far. If a robot is here, which let's face it, most of the time it's going to be, this spinner's going to not hit it. In fact, I can put a flat line, I'm going to use Dead Moose, I can put a flat line here and it not be in contact with the spinner, which is a shame. I'm not rebuilding this one. This will just sort of stay as is, and I shan't do any more to it. You're slowly slipping down, and I'm not happy about that. Get back up there. There we go. Oh, that's better. Hello. Good ear, innit? Right, yeah, so I'm not rebuilding Whirlpool. I can't be bothered, if I'm honest. It took too much work to build it in the first place, and ultimately it hasn't even fought yet. I don't really know how it's going to get on. If it doesn't get on well, I'll retire it. There are several machines I've retired, and I'm probably not going to speak of in this video, but hey-ho, it's most of the old, the original More Robots video have been laid to rest, shall we say. Right, moving on to Didn't Know Any Better. These are the robots that I built sort of when I was first starting to build Lego robots. They are all Lego, these ones, and we're going to start with Big Flipper. I don't know if you remember Big Flipper, but hey-ho, it's been a long while since I've actually touched this one. It's been around for ages. This was in my first ever video. It has got a big old flipper, but all the ground clearance in the world. It might work for something like Chaos 2. It doesn't work for Big Flipper because it has such a high ground clearance here. The Shreemech is okay, I suppose, but it is easily detached. And this is one I am actually going to rebuild tonight. I'm going to work on Big Flipper and have something a little bit different. It's going to use most of these parts, but not all of them. And I'm actually really looking forward to how it's going to look. I have a really good idea in my head, so that's Big Flipper. Next up we have Unity. Now Unity was sort of my original concept for a flipper other than that, and it was literally just to put it down on a flat surface and then pivot the top, and I put these extra wheels on because it wasn't invertible, but ultimately it is just a flat bit of Lego with some wheels either side, and I'm going to actually retire this. This is the last time you will see Unity, and it's 2 mini-bots. I might keep the mini-bots around because they're decent enough, but Unity is going to be stripped for parts, and I'm actually going to install it into Big Flipper. They're going to become one machine. So that is Unity gone. Ooh, that felt bad. Next is one I'm not going to rebuild, and I'm not going to take it apart. It is this one. I can't remember what I even called it in the end. Might be Wasp. I don't know. Anyway, it was this awful sort of grapply thing and a sort of lifter, but as you can already see, I'm pushing on bits and they're slowly falling to bits. This did nothing. Oh, God. In fact, I might take it apart and use it for bits, because I've just spotted one of these in here, and I need that for a different robot. One you've literally just seen, called Sir Chromalot. So, bye. I'm not sorry to see that go. What I am sort of sorry to see go is Blue Murder, who is tiny. Oh dear, is tiny. He actually became one of my middleweights, and unfortunately, I've already started sort of taking its part for different robots. There's a blue 1x6 piece missing from this side. This chain is actually, it was originally from one of my Nuts toys, but I took it apart, and so it is literally just a chain. This end bit is just loose now, and the spinner keeps falling off for no good reason other than it's poorly made. The spinner doesn't even spin properly anymore. So, again, not really one I'm sad to see go. Unless I said I was sad to see... I can't even remember. I think I did say I was sad to see it go. I'm not. It's caused me headaches. Right. Last one of ones I didn't know better was Webhead. And I'm just going to show you it, and you can make your own mind up as to why. It sort of reminds me of Frostbite in a way that isn't overly pleasant. There are good bits in here that I could easily use. So, for example, this piece on top I'm fondling. In fact, I've called it Web Spinner on here, and it's maybe that's what I called it. I don't know. But anyway, it's a piece of trash, and it's being dismantled, and I'm using its parts. So there. Right, did know better, decided not to do anything too. This is a weird category. This category more than any other is me having an actual mental breakdown. We're going to start with Mac 10, which is a Connects build which used up almost all of my Connects in one fell swoop. It's absolutely massive. Dead Moose XL is a pretty big robot, and this dwarfs it. It is absolutely colossal. Connects builds are notoriously difficult for size. The spinner isn't overly powerful, so I am actually going to dismantle Mac 10, and my plan is to build a better Mac 10 because I like the name. I sort of like the concept of having a beta spinner, so I'm going to rebuild that one, and that one's going to be taken apart, I'm afraid. Next one, we're going to have Firebird. I'm not sure what happened here. I thought it was a good idea at the time, although I should have seen all the signs. So first of all, let me explain it. If you haven't seen this before, it is a 2-weaponed robot. I was watching Robot Wars Series 3 and 4 at the time and thought, haven't got many robots that have 2 weapons. So it has a flipper at the front, like so, and it has a hammer on the top. Now, the issues of this are many. First of all, when it's like this and there's a robot on top of it, I can't actually get my finger in to flip, other than picking up the robot and then doing that with it, which is a bit rubbish. The other thing is the hammer is a little bit self-destructive. There you go. This is probably because most of it is held on using tiny little 1x2 pieces that sort of... I don't know how to explain it. Basically, it's held on with a load of these pieces, and that is not a good way to build a robot. It is very difficult to build hammer bots that have a hammer centrally out of Lego. Notoriously difficult because you're using a single brick wide piece in the middle of 2 brick sections. So I'm going to rework this one. I'm going to rebuild it, and it's going to be better because I do like it. I like the name, I like the concept. It may not have 2 weapons, it may not even have a flipper and a hammer. Who knows, but Firebird is one that I'm going to address very soon. I'm going to do these in the opposite order to how they were made. This was going to be a middleweight spinner. I didn't even name it. It isn't any good, and I'm not keeping it. In fact, you can watch me take it apart piece by piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can't get that bit off, but that would be 5, 6 pieces to build a body spinner that looked absolutely terrible and burst apart every time. Bye-bye. Not going to miss you. Lastly is me actually having a mental breakdown at the time. Well, not actually. I just sort of lost the plot a bit, I think, when I built this. It was a lot worse when I first built it. So, it used to be, if you can imagine, this sort of infernal contraption style machine, but it had 2 massive pillars either side of the drum to hold the drum off the ground. I didn't like that immediately, so I took it apart. And what I built from it was this. And this you'll probably recognise if you've seen the last More Robots as... I can't even remember what I called it. It's not being dismantled. because I genuinely cannot think what to do with any of it. So instead, it is going to be one of those robots that is cannon fodder, and if it does well, I'll be very surprised. In fact, I might just instantly retire it and just have it as a training wheels robot, because it looks like it has training wheels. So that is that. Now, if you have a faith, these next two builds go against them. All faiths, including, well, bar none. In fact, all faiths, it goes completely against them. One of them has actually appeared in the Grand Slam, and the other one is the next version of it. So, and I'm not changing it. Oh no, I'm going to see it through. Parasite seemed like a good idea at the time. What I basically did was challenge myself to build a robot out of a Lego kit, something I do frequently now, and to much better results, as you will see in the next more robots. I've got all the robots up there, that's why I'm pointing up there. I took four boxes of Lego and built from them several different robots, and I'm very happy with every single one of them. I don't think there's a single one up there that I am not happy with. So, what happened with this one? Well, I think I went doolally again. Basically, the issue here is that it's incredibly weak and flimsy. It has the gripping claws, which would work if it was something like Series 3. Now, putting it up against robots like Extremis, Razor, Dantomkia was potentially quite harsh on it. However, that's the luck of the draw. It has a Shremek, but just like in the show, if I overextend that, the whole back end falls off, including the Shremek, and that's all she wrote. So, I built a new version of Parasite. This version of Parasite is retired now. You can rest, you poor thing. I built a new version of Parasite, and I built it last summer. If you've watched more robots, excuse the leg, if you've watched more robots, you'll have seen it. But this is it. It is another dual weapon design, and that goddamn hammer. It's another dual weapon design. It has a flipper here and an axe here. Now, once again, I've somehow managed to build this extremely flimsily, if flimsily is a word. I'm pretty sure it is, although words are difficult. If it isn't, then I apologise. Axe will eradicate itself after a while. This is just because of the way I built it. In fact, that seems to be working better than I thought it would. It is slowly starting to pull itself apart. Yep, there it goes. It also twists like that, which is just no good. And the flipper, well, the flipper's okay, I suppose. It's all sort of okay, but at the same time disgusting, and I hate the fact that I built it. It's still tiny as well. Can I just compare this to Mac 10? You can actually, I think you can fit almost 2 of these into a Mac 10. And there we are. But yes, this is Parasite, and it will be competing at some point in the... Oh god, there it goes. It will be competing at some point in the future, just for the giggles, basically. I can't be bothered to do anything more to it. It will fight, and then it will be retired, and that will be that for Parasite, possibly indefinitely. I haven't yet decided. That's it. That's all I've got for you, and thank God, because it's almost 20 minutes long, this video. I've wasted your time enough. I've wasted my own time, clearly, a lot. So I'm going to get to work on rebuilding some of these things, and more robots should be following this at some point. I'm hoping later this week. Have you been enjoying these everyday uploads? Don't expect them to continue. No, no, no. Definitely not. I can't be bothered, and I'm a busy person, so, yeah. Bye.